Hi all. Today we will be discussing about the importance of the science and technology topic in UPSC prelims and mains. Its importance has become all the more high now because you could get up to maximum 40 marks in UPSC prelims and around 60 to 70 marks in UPSC mains if you put initial importance in the starting phase itself for the preparation of science and technology. Let us see how do we achieve that with our Gallant IAS module course on science and technology. So, we will start our discussion. This is the syllabus. Okay, science and technology, its developments and their application in everyday life, achievements of Indians in the science and technology, indigenization of technology and awareness of science and technology in the field of IT, space, computers, robotics, etc. etc. First, we will start our discussion with biotechnology sector. In biotechnology, we will be discussing more about genetic engineering, about our genetic material, DNA, our genetic code, etc. So, we will see what is it. This is known as DNA. This spirally arranged ladder shaped molecule, it is compactly placed in the nucleus in a shape called chromosome. It is a tight packing of our DNA within our nucleus. Okay, and our genetic code is written in the form of a pattern of 4 chemical bases. They are known as adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine. Okay, this is the gene. This gene codes for each and every body features. Our retina color, our hair color, everything is decided by this gene. So, if anything happens to this genetic code, that will lead to a genetic disorder. So, what is the way out? We can do gene editing. We can use some molecular scissors to cut the defective part of the DNA and attach some healthy part of the DNA. We will see how we do that. Okay, this is the process we employ for that. We will be using the molecular scissor, we will be removing the defective part of the DNA, we will be attaching some healthy part of the DNA. This process of gene editing is known as CRISPR-Cas9 technology for gene editing. How it got its name? This molecule called Cas9 protein is the molecular scissor that we are using for this gene editing. This Cas9 protein or enzyme will reach the defective DNA, it will cut the defective DNA and it will attach a healthy DNA. So, this is how that defect got rectified. Now, we will be talking about what is DNA and RNA. DNA is the reserve of genetic information. Okay, our genetic code will be transferred from the parent to offsprings in the successive generation because of the self-duplication capacity of this DNA. When a particular child is born, initially it was a zygote. It contained the genetic information from father and mother. Finally, that cell is getting divided and it is finally reaching the shape of a human baby. Okay, what is happening? In each of the cell division stages, this DNA is getting duplicated and that one cell it became 2. The single genetic information, it got duplicated and it reached each of the single cell. So, this same genetic information will be present in each and every cells. So, this is how our heredity works. The second function of DNA is protein synthesis. We know that most of the material in our body is made up of protein. For example, our hormone, our enzymes, etc. are proteins. So, the information for coding a particular protein will be present in DNA. DNA will be copying that particular genetic information to a mediator called RNA. This RNA will be then moving out of the nucleus, then it will be transforming itself into a protein. It will create a protein because of the information that is contained within the RNA. So, this is how the information that is present in the DNA is used for synthesis of protein. The process of copying of a genetic information to RNA is known as transcription, and the process of converting the information present in the RNA to a protein is known as translation. That is being written here. Now, we will be talking about genome sequencing. What is genome sequencing? We will be just opening up our DNA and we will be reading the genetic code. What is the code for the color of retina? What is the code for height of a person? What is the code for the hair color of a person? Everything is written in this genetic code. So, we will be reading that. That process of reading the pattern or genetic code of a person is known as genome sequencing, and we will be studying about this in detail in our module course. Now, what are the applications of this genetic engineering? This genetic engineering or biotechnological use of DNA can be used in biological field, biotechnological field, in medical field as well, and more other fields. Then, we will be talking about energy now. Okay, in the upcoming science and technology module course, we will be talking about each of these technologies in detail. I am just giving you a sample cross section now. In energy, we'll be talking about nuclear energy as well. We'll be talking about renewable energy as well. But now we'll see what we'll be talking about nuclear energy. In nuclear energy, we can see nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. What is the difference between nuclear fission and nuclear fusion? In nuclear fission, a single nucleus of uranium will be bombarded or attacked with a neutron, and this single nucleus is bifurcated into two. In that process, immense amount of energy is released. This immense amount of energy is heat energy. This heat energy will be used to convert water vapor into steam, and that steam will be used to run an turbine, okay, and the rotation of this turbine will be creating electricity. Now, in the process of nuclear fusion, two different isotopes of hydrogen will be merged together and an isotope of helium will be created. Okay, a nucleus of helium will be created. This is the process that is happening within the sun, and this kind of nuclear fusion is now possible to be created within the earth. That's the question within this slide. Okay, this is made possible in China. China and many other countries have already created nuclear fusion to generate the solar energy kind of a system within a particular nuclear reactor. Okay, so this immense energy could be used to run turbines and to generate green energy. Okay, that energy which is free of any nuclear waste. Okay, so China has already achieved a temperature of 288 million degrees Fahrenheit, which is more than 10 times the energy of the sun. So it opens up unlimited possibilities in the field of energy generation. Now, is there any concern associated with this technology? Definitely yes, because nuclear fission and nuclear fusion can be used to create nuclear bombs like atom bombs and hydrogen bombs. So what could be done to prevent the usage of this nuclear technology to be created, to be used for creating nuclear weapons? For that, actually, we have to go for treaties and agreements. We have NPT treaty, Nuclear Suppliers Group, Australia Group, Wasena Group, etc., etc. We will be discussing everything in our module course. Now, about NPT, we will be talking about NPT in detail. Okay, it's a legally binding treaty. India did not sign it yet. Now, is India a nuclear power? Definitely, India is a nuclear power. On the fine morning in 1974, okay, in Rajasthan desert area, we have detonated a nuclear device and we became a nuclear power. But my question is, did other countries just peacefully watch the nuclear exploration show of India? Never. They just immediately created a group called Nuclear Suppliers Group, and they started threatening India. They told that they won't give us nuclear fuel. Okay, there are many associated stories and interesting facts related to NSG. We'll talk about that in detail in our module course. This is about the current membership of NSG. India is not yet a member. Now, another nuclear proliferation prevention agreement is MTCR, Missile Technology Control Regime. In that, we will be preventing the carrying of a nuclear fuel or nuclear weapon to another country through a missile. India has become a member of MTCR in 2016. Now, about Wasena Agreement. It is about preventing the use of dual-use goods and technologies. So, what is a dual-use good? What is the issue with it? We will be talking in our module course. Okay, India has recently became a member of Wasena Agreement in 2017. Now about Australia Group, it is all about transfer and export of biological and chemical weapons. India has recently entered the Australia Group in 2018. Now, there are different other treaties associated with the nuclear proliferation. We will also discuss these things in detail as well. Now about space technology. In space technology, we know that it's all about satellites and space missions. We'll be talking in detail about different kinds of satellites and different kinds of orbits. First of all, we have geostationary satellites, Earth observation satellites, navigation satellites. We have Gaganyaan, Mars orbiter mission, Chandrayaan kind of space missions, and n number of things related to satellites. Then, what are the different kinds of orbit? Orbits are classified according to heights. High Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, low Earth orbit, etc. And we'll be talking in detail about what is the significance of height of a satellite from the surface of the Earth. Now, we'll be exploring each and every orbit in detail. High Earth orbit, what are the different types of high Earth orbit like geosynchronous orbit and geostationary orbit. Okay, we have given sufficient description about it in detail. Then, we'll be talking about medium Earth orbit and the kind of satellites that are orbiting in medium Earth orbit. Then about low Earth orbit and its different types. We'll be talking about polar orbit and sun synchronous orbit. Actually, polar orbit and sun synchronous orbit, Both are same but with a thin line of difference. Sun synchronous orbit is just a type of polar earth orbit. So what is it? We will be discussing in our module course. Then we will see the defense technology. In defense technology, we will talk about India's missile systems, India's anti-satellite weapon systems, India's helicopters, India's aircraft carriers or aircraft carriers and unmanned aerial vehicles. Everything we will discuss in our module course. Then the most interesting area and the most favorite area of UPSC, that is star formation. We will talk about the life and evolution of a star. We will talk about nebula, we will talk about supernova, we will talk about dark energy, dark matter, we will talk about black holes, we will talk about neutrinos, etc. Then we will come to the favorite area of UPSC, that is nanotechnology. We will be talking in detail about graphenes, carbon nanotubes, fullerenes, everything, and application of nanotechnology initiatives taken by the government in diverse fields, etc. Then we will come to information and communication technology and computers. We will talk about supercomputers, quantum computers, we will talk about holography and the present reality QR codes. We will talk in detail about 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, etc. and the different kind of applications of these technologies and Gs, the generation of spectrums. Then information and communication technology, again it continues. We will talk about Internet of Things, net neutrality, Li-Fi versus Wi-Fi, LIDAR technology, etc. Then we will talk about deep web and dark web, its difference. We will talk about cyber security issues, malwares and its type, artificial intelligence, big data, machine learning, everything we will see in detail. Then about the different ICT initiatives of government. That's about BharatNet project, Digital India Initiative, CCTNS, National Policy on Information Technology, about Budapest Convention related to cyber security, Cyber Surakshit Bharat, DigiLocker, India supercomputer, everything we will see. Then about intellectual property rights. We will talk about patents, we will talk about trademarks kind of thing and the different international conventions associated with this thing. We will talk about World Intellectual Property Organization and associated facts. Finally, we will talk about vitamins, minerals and its deficiency diseases. We know that there are different types of vitamins like fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins. If this is properly present in particular proportion in our body, then we will be fine. But if it is not present, we will face numerous diseases like night blindness, beriberi, anemia, etc. So we have n number of topics to be discussed. So don't wait, book your seats now. By the end of this month, we are going to roll out the science and technology module course. Stay tuned.